All right. So, have I ever told you about my Doctor Strange theory?
We've gone over this like multiple times,
I know.
but sure, for the sake of the video.
Yes,
for the sake of the video.
I'll go over my Doctor Strange theory. So, ever since Endgame, right? He kills Thanos with his 1 in a billion or whatever it is.
Yep.
Do you remember the number? And
I think it was 4 billion or 4 trillion.
some ridiculously high number. And in
Yeah.
Infinity War, he's like, there's only one way it's gonna work. Well, I never bought that even then, you know? It's like, really, there's nothing else you could think of besides giving him the time stone, letting him get it, and then him killing everybody and all this stuff. You know? So
I mean, he's like a medical doctor. He's not exactly a strategist.
true, but that's like kind of stupid. So anyway, it's like, and then it turns out he wins, I guess. They end up killing Iron Man dies out of it, and so does Black Widow and whoever else. I guess Gamora.
Captain America, Gamora, Thor gets basically put out of commission.
Yeah, so my theory was Doctor Strange did all this on purpose. So when he was talking about there was only one possibility that it would ever work, he wasn't just referring to beating Thanos. He was referring to not only beating Thanos, but eliminating Iron Man and Captain America and potentially Black Widow and anyone else. So I would say the only flaw in my theory is the motive. We don't really have a motive for why he would do this. But regardless of motive, I think it makes too much sense for there to be something else at play other than just that was the only one that would work.
The enemy now controls this location.
I don't know.
I do think there's a point to that, and of course you could also obviously point out Spider-Man No Way Home getting Spider-Man off the board as well. It seems like he's kind of trying to eliminate all the superheroes.
It is also true. It's if for some reason he seems out to get all the Avengers and he wants them off. But again, it's like the only thing we're missing is motive, and there could be something like, you know, someone is like taking him over, he doesn't have complete control or something, I don't know. But I think
Well, we
something's
know-
definitely amiss.
We know from like Civil War that a lot of people view the Avengers as a threat. I don't think it's much of a stretch to say that Doctor Strange could too.
So does Doctor Strange have, like, I know he's more like mystical stuff, but how about aliens? Does he do a lot with aliens?
As far as I am aware of, he isn't super big on the aliens. I do believe he has had plenty of interactions with them in the past, but if you've read a comic book, basically anybody has. So,
Well, because remember when Thor showed up back to Earth in Ragnarok? I think it was.
Oh,
he stopped him instantly.
that's true, actually. Hold on.
So he is keeping tabs on him at least. You know?
Yeah.
So, I'm trying to get at is maybe, I know this is kind of a thing in the Secret Invasion that they just came out with, which I didn't watch, heard it wasn't that good, but the whole, what are they, scrolls?
Yeah.
What if he's just looking out for stuff like that? Or specifically because they revealed that War Machine was a scroll, so maybe he knew the whole time somehow, and he's not trusting the Avengers in general.
So Doctor
because of
Strange
that?
is the ultimate skeptic, the biggest paranoia ever.
I mean, that would make sense. I mean, I haven't seen his own movie in a while, but maybe he, I know he likes to, like, jump the gun on stuff, just not listen to other people.
The whole point of his first movie was that he has to be the one in control. So honestly, him eliminating any other threat to his power kind of just makes sense, actually. I didn't realize that until now, but his entire movie was about him being in control.
Yeah, so there's that, and then there's also in Endgame when Hulk goes back and explains to that his like teacher what Doctor Strange did, and then she kind of like instantly is like, that's what convinces her to give up the stone. So it's almost like she knows something about him that, you know, no one else does.
It almost comes across as like this is going to be a kind of weird comparison, but hear me out here. It kind of comes across as like the Jedi, right? Where they think that their authority is better than everyone else's, so they are completely loyal to their own, but they kind of just hate anybody else and don't view anybody else's power as legitimate. They kind of want to be like the police force.
But I don't know though. I always like remember the expression that she had was kind of like he was always destined to do the right thing. So like she kind of just goes along with whatever he says. That's kind of what it looks like. I know it's hard to get all that just from like a look that she gives.
No, she explicitly says that he's going to be the best one of them all. So definitely not a stretch.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think something's there that kind of backs it up. If you look at all the evidence surrounding the whole instance of him giving the stone to Thanos, it doesn't add up logically. So you kind of just have to
fill in the blanks, right?
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's always bothered me. I always think there's something else going on there. It's again, the main thing we're missing is just motive, like why. But you know, there's a lot of things you can point to. You look at all the evidence of his character, what he's done, and you're right. He always has to be in control. He's never been real friendly with any of them either. It was like he kind of like worked with them out of like necessity. But as you think about it, you could say that he has more of a problem with aliens than he does with other mystical people, because I don't remember him stressing out that much in his own movie or even in his second movie. It was always like Infinity War and Endgame, and then No Way Home, I guess. But not even then, not that much. It was mostly Thanos that bothered him the most, and then Loki.
Honestly, he was more upset with Peter than the fact that, you know, there was a hole tearing through space-time.
Yeah.
Which kind of points to the whole narrative that he doesn't really care that much unless he's in control. Which is kind of a weird narrative, because that's definitely not what the narrative was in his own movie.
Yeah. And did he seem to care all that much that Wanda was evil in the Doctor Strange one?
Not really, no.
He kind of just like, this is annoying, but, you know, not because now it's another threat. It's just annoying for him. It was an inconvenience. And once again, that's a magical being, not an alien.
Well, he didn't seem surprised at all that Wanda turned evil, right? He did not seem surprised at all. It's almost like he wanted those events to happen. We know he saw into the future, but we never learned how far into the future he saw, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he looked at a lot of stuff, and it's like, you know, a billion different outcomes or whatever. You're telling me the only one he thought of was that whole elaborate thing? It's like, how about cutting his arm off with one of the rings? But then again, he could have killed Iron Man himself, but maybe the whole point was to have it be indirect. I don't know.
Yeah, because he's still treated as a hero.
Yeah, so something's going on. So basically the whole point of this is, if it turns out there was another reason to the whole, that's the ending he chose for Endgame, then I called it first. I called it since 2019. I've been saying that since the movie came out.
Yeah, no, that was one of the first things. Like, you held off on it because I hadn't seen the movie yet, because you saw it on premiere night. But that was one of the first things, like, after we saw the movie together, you're just like, yeah, no, Doctor Strange killed Iron Man.
Yeah, well, that's exactly how it looks, because you know the way it plays out, and then it's like, I don't know, something was always off about it, and then that was one of the biggest questions even before Endgame came out, and it was only Infinity War. Everyone was like, why did Doctor Strange give that up? Because even though they said that was the only chance, even then people were like, there's something else going on here. So.
Yeah. Did Doctor Strange even seem all that miffed about losing, the Sorcerer Supreme title? Because he didn't really, right?
That was in Multiverse?
No Way Home. That was in No Way Home. First time he mentioned it.
Oh, okay.
Like, it seemed like Wong was trying to goad him, if anything, if you actually, like, listen to what they're talking about half the time.
Yeah. It's kind of like one of those, like those, I don't know a good example, but like those personalities or whatever where they'll like, their life is falling apart, all their like relationships and their work life, all that's falling apart just because they get obsessed over like one thing. It's kind of how it feels like what's going on with him. Like he's only concerned about aliens and everything else he just doesn't care about. Either that or there's just some weird writing going on and it just looks like something's happening, but
well, the whole point of this theory is to help patch up the writing, right?
Yeah,
that's one of the whole points of theories is to help fix bad writing.
I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt, say there's something else going on, and at this point if there isn't something else going on, I'm gonna be disappointed. Like I thought that was gonna they're gonna mention something about it in No Way Home when that came out. I was kind of bummed when they didn't, because I thought that would have been the perfect chance. I still think if they do end up doing something like that, having Peter get super mad at him for it because like of his connection to Tony.
Yeah,
I think that would make for a really good movie, very compelling scene. It would fit both the characters, and it'd be interesting to see how they explain the Doctor Strange part.
There is gonna be another Avengers movie.
Yeah, we have another Avengers movie and another Spider-Man movie. Well, 2 Avengers movies, so who knows?
Yep.
And Kang is an alien, is he not?
I
don't know.
He's like he's dimensional. He's Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange's wheelhouse. Dimensional threats. Threats to our reality, as he said.
Which I would count under magic. Which he doesn't seem to care about as much as aliens for some reason. But yeah, we'll have to see where they go with it, but that was my theory.